Are you looking to improve your knowledge in conditioning and sports science, or to improve your fitness of your athletes? Then I highly recommend this book, Science and Application of High Intensity Interval Training, brought to you by Martin Boucher and Paul Larson. This is the book recommendation of the podcast, and I've personally used this to help guide my conditioning programs for my athletes for this season, and to great effect. It even comes with 20 strategies for 20 different sports. So if you're interested in different sports and you are unsure of the conditioning strategies that they require, then this is the book that you must have. You can purchase this book from the Amazon link below to get your own copy. Now to the podcast. The Been There Done That podcast is brought to you by Excel Strength and Performance. Excel Strength and Performance offers remote, individualized programming for athletes of all levels starting at $25 a week. Remote programming offers one 10-minute call weekly to discuss programming, as well as a free strategy call to discuss individual needs and any questions you have regarding the program. Programs will be written by a level 2 professional ASCA coach with 5+ years experience coaching athletes across a number of state levels. For more details, the email is below, and follow at Strength Coach Matty D and send through any DMs that you might have. Welcome to the Been There Done That podcast. I'm super pumped to drop this first episode with Ashleigh Gomes, captain of the East Freo WAFLW league side. We talk all things from her development years in footy to her current position as a leader of the younger generation. We evaluate the upcoming season and discuss changes in the coaching department. With these changes, we wish Ash and all of the other Sharks of all the best for the current WAFLW season and beyond. Let's get stuck to the podcast.
A couple shots.
No better way to start a podcast with a couple of shots.
Hey, get you ready for it.
So, Gomesy, thanks for coming.
That's all right. Anytime.
Appreciate your time. Come out before training. So, what better way to start the podcast than go in depth about where you started and how you got into the East Fremantle Footy Club and all that. So, let's go.
So, footy. I guess that's how we met.
That's how we met, exactly.
Matt was my strength and conditioning coach last year. I guess you sort of still are, in a way. You overlook what Sabs does. Yeah. So, pretty much footy, I guess it started in high school. So, being in year 7, I was a little shit.
Not much has changed.
Yeah, nothing at all. Not even in the slightest. So, pretty much you get like a newsletter at the start of every day.
Yeah.
And it says, Open Girls AFL team. I went, oh yeah, let's go for this. Let's try it. So I went up into the gym for the meeting at recess, and there was only year 10s, 11s and 12s. So Gabby O'Sullivan.
Yeah.
I think she was in like year 12 and I was a little year 7. So,
holy shit, so you were year 7?
Yeah. I think Gabs was I think she was year 12. But yeah, so I walked in and everyone just stared at me, and the coach goes, no. Yeah, this is Open Girls. Like, I hope you... I was like...
And you had no prior experience?
Oz kick.
Yeah.
Oz kick, but then obviously once you reach, I think it was age 12, I had to go to soccer because footy stopped.
Yeah, right.
So... That
was at school level.
Yeah, so it was pretty much at school level. So I think I was 16. However old you are in year 7. But pretty much...
16 is pretty old for year 7.
Yeah, pretty old.
I think it was it 12?
What is it? 2010.
Quick maths.
Yeah, I was like, no, I can't do it. 12?
Yeah.
12, 13. Anyway, yeah, I pretty much just said to him, I was like, oh, well, I want to play. Why are you going to tell me that I can't play if I'm in year 7? He goes, all right, no worries. So ended up playing, and coach ended up loving me. So it was perfect.
Was all that speed and agility you had? The natural gift, was it?
Yeah, natural gift.
It's all those calves. Best calves in the business right there.
Nah, but...
So you went straight in.
Pretty much straight in, and then I was pretty fortunate. The All Saints College, the coach of the footy team there was the head of the state footy team. So straight away he came up to me after one of the games and said, hey, do you want to come give it a go, see how you go? And then, yeah, that's pretty much how I started. State teams, and then...
So how old were you when you played state? Was that?
2012. So I think I was year 9. Again, bad maths. But, yeah, so started, I think it was 2012, state 16s, 2013, State 18s, 2014, State 18s again.
Yeah. So women's footy at that stage was still like almost in its infancy for like kind of like your generation, like the young girls.
Yeah.
Because usually like it was obviously because like when Webbo and Steph, they were playing like open women's like as an older age, because that's what it was, nothing. And then it was like open, like older women would play like local club and stuff. But like, your age group, I think, would have been the start of that younger generation. Am I right?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, it was really weird because obviously, like I said before, you're 12 years old and you're told, well, you can't play with the boys anymore. Mm-hmm. And you're sort of going, oh, well, this is all I've really done for pretty much your whole life. And then you had to go to alternate sports. So I guess when eventually I got to high school and they said, yeah, we're doing like an open... we're starting women's footy. I was like, oh, yeah, well, I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Then the state options came and, yeah, it was weird. Back then, it was... I mean, even playing youth girls when I first joined East Freo, we would struggle to fill a team. Like, it'd be, like, we would have to play 13 aside. And now at youth girls, I think they've got 45 girls listed.
Big numbers, yeah.
Like, it's crazy.
It is amazing.
It's incredible to see how big it's grown.
It's only been a few, like...
not long. Really, not long. Well, I've been at East, I think, 6-7 years. Since then, it's quadrupled, pretty much in numbers. Like, it's insane. Now with AFLW, I feel like the numbers just grew even more.
Exactly, more exposure, more kids see it.
Well, that's the thing.
I want to be that person who's on the TV. I've got to start playing footy.
Yeah,
do it younger.
Pretty much. It's pretty cool.
So you've been playing at East Fremantle for 6 years, and then now you're captain.
Yeah.
Talk about that. That's crazy. How does that make you feel?
Yeah.
Proud?
Yeah. Weird. It's a weird feeling. Like, it's a very weird feeling. I think because I've always looked up to my captains. Like, I had shivers. I had Evie Gooch, Alex Williams, Emma Swanson, like these big AFLW names, and it's sort of like, oh my God. Like, I'm now
bit intimidating?
Yeah, it was. At first, when I first found out I was going to be captain, it was like, at first, oh, yeah, this is cool. And then I think a couple hours later, it like set in and I was like, oh my God, this is huge. Like, this, I think it finally clicked to me. I was like, wow, this is like really, really big moment in my life. Like, I guess from being a youth girl and struggling to fill teams to now.
Yeah, because you were that person looking up to
pretty much
the captains, and now you are that role model to other younger girls.
Yeah, it's coming up. Yeah, it's
and
crazy.
Even better now. Your team had 5 debut girls. Was it all 5 of them come from youth girls last year?
Yeah, all youth girls, which is amazing. Insane. Like, and they all played amazingly. And it's just so, like, it's also, I don't know, it makes me feel so happy because it's like, back when I started, you pretty much came from soccer, netball, hockey, all those other sports. But now it's like, girls like Roxy Rue, she came literally from Auskick all the way through, and look at her now. She's
grassroots now.
Yeah. It's incredible.
It's good. So we'll talk about the first game, probably not the result you were looking for, but you had those 5 new girls start. You said they played well. Talk through the game. What did you think?
Oh, it was like, considering we had 5 new debutants, girls in new positions, new coach, new everything.
Yep.
I thought we did great. Like, not being biased at all, but genuinely think, like, that's just a starting point. And considering they didn't really have any changes, Peel Thunder, sorry. Peel didn't have any changes really from their premiership side. So for a team like East Freo to have 5 debs, girls in new positions, new coach, new structures, to only lose by 20-odd points, like, it was a great game.
The first half was pretty competitive as well. I caught the first half.
Yeah.
And if you were those young girls like Miley and stuff, like, just able to just work the way into the game well. Yeah, so it looked like it was big things are going to happen over the next season or so.
Yeah, definitely. And Quayle's a great coach. He's got huge visions, and I trust the process 110%. So I'm super keen. Like, even this week's game, like, I can already see him, like, he's messaging me being like, I want this. I'm like, I'm down for it. I was like, let's bloody do it. Like, there's no other way it's going to happen without, like, the reinforcement of the leadership group type thing. So
what else you've got? Who's in the leadership group with you as well?
It's me, Larry, Kate, and Hayley.
So you got all young girls.
Yeah, so pretty much.
All of them, bar Larry, would have come from the youth girls as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, literally. I
So
didn't
you
even
got
think of that.
4 out of the 5. So another testament to how good his Fremantle is at their grassroots level, promoting the young talent.
Yeah,
We got Larry there for a bit of experience and wisdom.
Yeah. No, I love Larry. She's so great. I'm so happy she came to East Ferro when she did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
That's good. So let's think for further down the track now. Who we've got this week? Is it Claremont?
Claremont.
At Claremont?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that game? We reckon we're going to bounce back?
Yeah, 100. Like the first game's always a starting point.
Get the nerves out.
Yeah, get the nerves. Like it was even in our scratchy against Souths. You get all those nerves out in the first quarter. Peel was sort of the same. Like we were just scrambling a lot. And then I think this game now, like after being in the team meetings last night, all the girls are so hungry for a win.
Yeah.
And it's so good to see, like, even the young girls are wanting that win so bad. I've got so much confidence, in the team as a whole. I think we're so close this year, which I think, obviously, if you're closer off-field, the on-field results are going to come. So I reckon we'll go all right. I reckon we'll get the win. 100%.
I think so too. Claremont, where they finished last year, they were in that top...
Fifth. Nah, fifth.
They make top 5. Was that 1 out or 1 in?
Yeah, so there's 6 teams in our league. So pretty much it was something ridiculous. Like us, Swans and Claremont all had to win, and if we did, it had to be like by a certain amount of points to make finals. And I think
because of the COVID effective season, the season was shortened and
it was like 7
made
games or something.
the finals race a lot tighter. Because less games, less wins.
It was insane. That season as a whole was just crazy.
So they're probably a bit more on because we look at it now, last year's premiers, Peel, probably they're the standouts of the season. I think I saw on Facebook they had 10 of their players in the state side. Is that correct? Did you see that?
No, I haven't actually.
No, I'm not sure on the number exactly, but I think they had 10 of their players.
Most likely
are in that state team. And I think they had 10, and then no other side had more than 5.
Yeah,
nominated for the
team is
their under 18 state side.
A couple years ago.
State side or
I think
one of the state
19s.
That's it. The 19, something like that. So it's quite a heavily stacked team of talent. So they're probably the standout.
Yeah,
and
100%. Like they all came up from the youth girls comp. Like it's grown so much. So many of those girls have come up into their league side, and they were winning grand final after grand final in the youth girls comp. And I guess now that they've all moved up, it really brought all the older girls at Peel to a whole new level. So like I said to them on the weekend, like I congratulated them. I was like, you guys played outstanding. And it's like, credit to you guys. You guys were the underdogs for the whole year and then pulled it out. So.
They did. Yeah, so we're looking in, how do we look in terms of this year? What are we looking at? Because we're quite a young side. Do you think we still expect expectations to make finals? Or
East Ferro?
Yeah, East Ferro.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, always looking to play finals.
Always looking to play finals. I think it's not being cocky in a way, but I guess in a way you also have to be that little bit cocky to be like, yeah, we definitely are going to make finals, like, type thing. I think with the talent that we've got at the moment, I think even give it a year or a couple rounds even. And I reckon all our younger girls are going to come up to that same standard, and we're all going to... Like, we're already gelling, so, like I said before, so well off the field. Now it's slowly coming onto the field. I reckon definitely finals bound.
And even this is also the first year as well where they're aligning the WAFLW season with the AFLW season. And you had 3 AFLW girls come back to play for us play for you, sorry, on...
Us.
Us. Keep saying us because it's still a part of East Ferro.
Still a part.
Still us. To play for us on Saturday, but it actually has been the first year I haven't had them all at training, and you haven't had the big names like Gooch, O'Sullivan there, or even though she's still there as a youthies coach, but not actually training as much per se. Alex Williams.
Yeah.
How has that kind of affected training? As it probably would have made younger girls step up a little bit more.
Yeah, I think it's almost, and this is no offense to AFL girls, but it's almost brought the younger girls out of their shells. Because we noticed last year when the AFL girls went there, they would talk a bit more. I think, I remember some of the girls, they were a bit intimidated because they're like, oh my God, it's an AFLW player. I'm 15, about to play with a girl who's killing it in the AFLW.
Yeah, Ruby Slasher.
Yeah, like Ruby, Alex, Gibby now as well, like Phil. God, like the list,
there's a big list.
List goes on. But like you said, I think not having them there, it brings everyone else. You almost got to be accountable for your own actions at training.
Yeah,
so
you can't fall back on them. Yeah,
type thing. And it's brought everyone's intensity up another notch because I think with them there, you're more under the pressure to hit those targets. And I think now as having like me, Larry, Kate, Hayley, we've really hyped on that we want to sort of keep that standard. We don't want to just drop because the girls have left necessarily. Like we still want to be like, we're here to play football, we're here to win type thing. So it's pros and cons.
Yeah,
pros
exactly. Yeah, because you lose the skills and all that sort of stuff they bring.
Yeah, the pros being that the younger girls definitely have that ability to show their skills.
Yeah.
And the girls who might have not had a chance last year playing resis can now come up and show what they're made of type thing. So I guess they're the pros, but I guess the cons, obviously, you're losing experience, talent throughout all lines. We had multiple AFL girls in every line. But like I said...
It's good exposure for those young girls.
Yeah, like especially last year, like they got to learn a lot. Like I know I was still learning and I'm 22.
Yeah.
Well, back then 22. Like I learnt so much off them. So I guess puts us under a bit of pressure being the senior girls.
Now your chance to step up?
Yeah, sort of. I hope so.
No, it's good. So we'll go to the direction of kind of, your coaches that you've kind of led under, and obviously Steph and Webbo have been probably the biggest ones. Was Waldo your youthies coach? Or was she not?
No, I had Brianna Green.
Yep.
So Legsy.
Yep.
I had Caitlin Edwards.
Yep.
Waldo for my first 2 years of seniors.
Yep.
And then Webbo from then on. And then a couple different... Like I had Michelle Cowan as one of my state 18 coaches. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, at East Freo, basically just Steph and Webbo as my senior coaches.
What were the kind of the biggest things you pulled away from each coach? Like, what were the key learnings or...
Oh, God. They both coach in different ways, but both being probably my best coaches that I've had in state and East Freo. Webbo was very hard on me, but I almost wanted her to be. Because I think what she taught me as, I think 3-4 years I've had her, she's made me a much better footballer.
Yeah.
Steph was a lot more giving me tips on how to do certain things, where to play. She was finding my spot more, but I feel like Webbo was a lot more strict. And she tells you how it is.
Yeah.
Like, love Webbo. Love Webbo. But
that's good, though. You need someone to be able to tell you how it is, because then that's how are you going to get better.
100%.
If you're not going to get, if everything's sugar-coated, or you're going to mollycoddle your players, how do you expect them to get any better?
And
you want to make a resilient side as well, so you don't want to, you want to make them, be able to be resilient to what happens out in the field. Are they going to crack under the pressure, or might as well them crack, you can still support them in the training rather than the heat's on them on the game, and then they just in the lights and they just go deer in a headlight situation.
Yeah, you
put the pressure on them early, get them used to it, and then everything else just falls into place. Really, you
grow so much respect, especially for people like Steph and Webbo. Like, I have so much respect for both of them because they've taught me so much. They've taught me so many things on and off the field as well. They've got 3 beautiful kids as well, and great people. Great people. Taught me a lot in football. So very, very grateful to have had 2 great coaches.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, 100%. So couldn't fault it at all.
Great people.
Yeah.
Lovely kids.
Love them.
They're little terrors around the place.
Oh, East Freo is the best. I don't know, because I'm such like
it was like a community.
Yeah, like it's a family. Like there's kids running around.
Dogs everywhere.
Dogs everywhere. I love dogs. But yeah, it's the best place. Like, I've always said this. Like, I've asked so many other girls at other clubs. I'm just like, oh, do you guys like have heaps of kids running around like in the change rooms before games? Like, no. I'm like, what? We all love it. Like, we have like
Well, when I first started at East Ferro, and I was like, these kids running around, I was like, what is this going? What is going on here? It's like a little like preschool, but then you learn to love it because then at the end of the day, it's just the game, and the kind of the innocence of young kids makes you like, it's only just the game really. What the hell, like, it doesn't really matter.
It almost takes so much like that anxiety out because it's like, oh, you can distract me, so it's completely fine. And
and even the biggest difference, like working with the girls, like an environment is like pre-game is so different. Like guys are just like silent and they have their headphones on. They kind of keep to themselves, whereas like girls just like up and about dancing.
Yeah, dancing.
And almost like using more energy than you are, more energy before you actually go out and play.
What do you reckon is the biggest difference?
That's the biggest one. Yeah. That really hit me for six. That one.
Yeah,
I was like, what is going on? Like,
we have
people
like three Yui booms going like dance.
And there's like full dance moves. I'm like, wow, did I just roll up to Metros?
Oh, 100% Metros at East Ferro pre-game. Yeah, perfect. Like
without the alcohol.
Pre-game shots.
That and probably there's more now, more so like you look after the girls a bit more in terms of what's the word you will look for? A bit more, you have to make sure you're looking after them in terms of encouragement, making sure you're just getting around them to support.
Yeah.
A bit more guys, you can kind of let the coaches worry about that a bit more.
Yeah.
But with the girls, everyone's going to make sure you're going around it. Usually with the guys, one person's like, you play good cop, bad cop, more or less. Not all the time, but most of the time you play good cop, bad cop for the guys.
Yeah.
Usually I'm the bad cop.
I could imagine.
Fitness coach back up.
Always bad cop. Always bad cop.
What was your first experience with me, like when I rolled in? I remember the first time I was there, first warm-up, girls were just chatting, and I just pulled the whistle out and just went full drill sergeant.
I think because we had all female coaches for a long time, it was like, oh shit. Like, he's blowing his whistle, getting us into line. But I think as I got to know you, I love the way that you literally drilled us. If we weren't hitting those marks, like, you would tell us. Like I said with Webo and Steph before, like, they would let you know, and that's what everyone needs. You can't sugarcoat stuff. And I think, like, we get along really well.
Yeah.
And I think that makes it so much more enjoyable. Like, I think you could get along with all the girls, which made it a lot easier.
Yeah. I think, there's always different relationships you have with different players, and some of them you don't connect with all of them all at the same time, and you connect with different athletes.
Yeah.
We're more so than others, but it's more about there's that respect there between athlete and coach, and it goes both ways. If you do what I ask, we don't have to be best mates, but as long as you do what 100%. I say and you do it, and like we'll get along just fine. But I still remember that. Even at times, I look back and it's like, that was like probably not the best move in terms of being so hard so early. But sometimes that's probably stick to the guns. Yeah,
I guess it's different, especially because had you ever coached a girls team before?
Before that, not. But before that was not last year. Before I was involved with Waste hockey, but I wasn't coaching them, so I had experience around girls before. But in terms of having a little bit of how many girls we have at training, 30 plus.
Yeah, 40, 24
a lot of girls
each team or something. Both
a new coach, you've got to set the standard early.
Yeah.
So that was kind of if I worked with the girls beforehand, it was like a smaller group who had a bit more experience that being like in a high performance program, so they had a bit more of understanding that level of hierarchy in terms of the chain of command, like where each coach and each athlete sits. So a bit more like that. So when I rolled in there, and I was like, I've got to do it early. If I don't, set standard, set it early, and then kind of pull back from there. Because then, if someone goes, oh, he's a dickhead, but then once they get to know me a bit better, like one-on-one, if they're in rehab or something like that, that's the kind of where you can make a bit more of a connection because you have a bit more time.
I guess that was sort of like us. Like you were sort of just like, oh, Matt or SNC until we started to do gym early mornings. I was like, oh, he's actually a great guy. I actually really like him.
Yeah. And it's always, you've got to put yourself out there as well.
Yeah.
You've got to make sure that, if you want to, change the relationship or something like that, you've got to make yourself a little bit more susceptible, put yourself out there, vulnerable.
Yeah.
All those words.
Do you miss us? Take that as a no.
Yeah. I'll think about it. No. I miss you because it is that same the thing I was saying before. It's like bit innocent. Like probably is another thing. The difference between the guys and the girls is that it's you got not that it's more innocent, but it's like you don't have the big repercussions of like big time pressure. Like in terms of whoever made like the men's side who've probably been unsuccessful for a very long period of time, and now there's always this new changing in staff and then changing of players, new playing group that there's an expectation now that we need to hit the mark. And then, like, if that doesn't happen for whatever reason, there's, repercussions for that. And the same goes for women, but in terms of you girls are still playing for fun, there's not that big time, expectation of, it's grand final or, it's all those things. So a bit more of an innocence on that part. And as well, like, there's that as well. Like, it's, best thing about the girls is that you have fun.
Yeah,
and you
I
kind
think
of get it, and you let it known too. Like you don't keep your emotions inside. Not that all guys don't do that. It's that more girls let their emotions out. So then it's a bit more. So then I get sucked into the emotion of it as well. And it's like, man, it's like almost reminds
females.
me. Yeah.
Females.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of when I used to play footy.
Yeah.
A little bit like, and I just love playing footy just because I love footy.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing as well. Like eventually, when the WAFL men's and once WAFLW gets to the level where the WAFL men's is, that's when I guess, how do I word this? I guess with the WAFL, it's more on the news, in the newspaper, full time, like, this club is doing shitty this season, blah, 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 they're going to get the wooden spoon, whereas WAFLW, it's not at that level yet. Like you say, it is, from an Outlookers point of view, I guess it is, in a way, for fun. Because it hasn't really... I mean, this is the third year of... No, third year.
This is the third season, yeah.
Third season of WAFLW finally being in that...
As a WAFLW, yeah.
Yeah,
Prior to that, it was the amateurs.
Yeah, it was just pretty much the WAFL. So I hope it does get to that stage where we do start picking up more media side of things, where they actually start getting around, but I think that will still be a couple of years away.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the progression and seeing how it evolves from here. 3 years, once you kind of get a bit more, like the girls, a bit more experience, like the younger girls, like coming up from the youthies, they've had a bit more exposure in that level of WAFL to see how, training goes. You might have, facilities outside of the club so you can go out and do all that sort of stuff. Just don't bring the mic, but bring the... What do you call this?
Fluffy thing.
Yeah, bring the fluffy thing. Just put it closer to the mic and then pull the actual thing, everything closer together. Yep, and then just tip the mic. You could have this. Yep.
Now we're on.
Perfect.
We're back on.
That's it. Yeah. So so then you might, like, a few years, might be more funds from the WAFL come down or stuff like that, and you can have your own facility out somewhere else. You can have more time to train, better, more time to train. Obviously, get better skills. Then better skills, more people watch it, and it looks like a true thing.
That's the thing. Like it'll slowly get there. I guess it's sort of like AFLW. Like it's slowly getting to the point where more people are respecting it.
Exactly.
Obviously, in the first year, I guess even now, a lot of people still aren't on board with it. But I hope it's... people just got to stop being so stubborn with their original thoughts on it. Like, it does me. It absolutely does me. Just let women play sport and be happy.
Yeah, why not? And why can't people just do it?
Like, I hope eventually the WAFLW gets to that point. Like I said, like, we start getting more media. We start getting one game a week. Like, the men's do, televised. Like, younger girls...
At the moment now, it's all on live stream, isn't it?
Yeah, live stream. So, Facebook, YouTube. But that's only one game a week. So, I hope it starts getting more leveled out, but take a couple of people
to... years. Talking about AFLW season, how good's that been this year? I've watched a couple of games.
I know.
And it's been pretty hot, but the skill levels up, the scoring has been high. It's been good to watch, especially from the Freo point of view. If you're a Freo fan.
Freo killing it.
They are killing it, even though I'm not really a Freo fan.
Who do you go for?
Crows. Mate, Aaron Phillips, mate.
Oh, I guess you're from Adelaide.
I am from Adelaide.
She's a goat. She's a goat.
She's a fucking...
Goat.
The reason, Adelaide didn't go so well last year without it. But she played last year, the year before.
Yeah.
They missed it big time.
No, it's... Again, it's the growing of the entire sport. Like a couple of years ago, it was like no games would score over, and there's no hit to anyone. But
it's just what it is because
it is what it is. Like it wasn't as big of a game as it was
now.
Yeah, well, as it is now. So the games this season have been unreal. Like I love watching Collingwood, and that's just not because I love Ruby, but
hey, they've come out of the work.
Chloe Malloy is insane.
They're 4-0.
Yeah, same as Dockers, and like the same as Dockers. Like so many people at the start of this season were like, "Oh no, Dockers wooden spoon."
Really?
Like, grow up. Everyone who thought that. Or like,
they were undefeated last year.
I know.
They were essentially going to win the premiership. If they didn't have that last game, couldn't get cancelled. They should have just given it to them.
Oh, 100%.
And people thought they were going to have the wooden spoon this year.
I know. Nah.
Who said that?
I was talking to Cato about it. Cato's from footy. We were talking about it. Apparently she was saying that people were saying...
Why? No way.
Apparently all the Victorian clubs were saying that they wouldn't do very well this year.
Well, they're not doing... they did that last season. They did like the groups or the pools. That little pool.
I can't remember what
they do like the NFL do. They do like conferences.
That's it.
Yeah. They're not doing that this season, are they?
Nah, they're just pretty much... I think it's still 8 rounds. I'm not entirely sure,
I think I saw 9.
Yeah. So they pretty much find out the fixture on a Sunday.
Yeah.
But the previous
that
Sunday
sucks.
to the... But that's obviously because COVID makes everything so much more difficult.
Makes it a lot harder.
Yeah. But it's incredible. Like, I love watching it now. Like, Lockie's on board. Like, he loves it. I'm just like... He's like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, watching footy. He's like, oh, I'll come watch.
It's good to actually watch something in the summer. Because now that you don't get cricket on anymore...
Yeah, well, it gives you something to do. Like, Saturday and Sunday, like, Dockers and Eagles are home this weekend. So we'll definitely get to the Saturday game. I think Dockers play. But yeah, it's entertainment.
Who are they playing this week?
Brisbane.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Brisbane's good side too.
Are you sure? No, Brisbane playing Crows. No, Crows. 100%. I know one of my mates. Yeah, 100. One of my mate works at Brisbane.
Fact check.
I'll
post it here.
Hey, I don't have the editing skills just yet.
I don't.
I'm on a YouTube tutorial. How do I edit?
How to edit.
WAFLW. No, because I'm a mate who works like S&C at Brisbane.
Yeah.
And then he was asking about who was S&C at Adelaide. We're round 5. Crows. Oh no, you're right. I'm not 100%. Why did I?
Maybe next. Or maybe
no,
they've
not round 6.
Did they verse last week? Or the week before? Last week.
Oh, it was last week. Damn, I'm a week behind. Yeah, the week just gone that play.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So Freo, are you playing here? Maybe I'll ask him if he's coming. Might have him on the podcast.
Potential.
I'll ask him. Ben Brugman, if you're listening.
Join us.
Expect a email or a text message.
No,
yeah, so we've got Freo against Brisbane, Freo over, and then the day after, the West Coast and the Gold Coast Suns.
Yeah, that'll be a good game.
Talk about West Coast. Yet to win this season. Did they win last year? Have a win?
Yeah, they did. I think the last game of the season. I think they beat GWS. I think. Again, fact check.
That's right.
Edit here.
That's all right. If we got it wrong, we'll just say something after and say we got it wrong.
Very wrong.
Just lift your mic up a little bit.
Yeah.
There, perfect. Yeah. It was pointing down a bit.
Yeah. Nah, Eagles, like the game that they played on the weekend was one of their best games, 100%. Like Ashley Atkins, or Happy as we know her. She's been killing it. Like, I reckon she's their best player by far. And that's just not, again, biased because she's East Freo. She's, like, one of the only players that go in 100%. Like, I feel like to every contest is just, like, goes.
Talk about veteran. She's been around the block. She said, I spoke to her a while back, she used to play with Webbo.
Yeah.
And when Webbo, no disrespect to Webbo, she's getting on. Now, she's probably last good playing days were a couple of years ago. I don't know.
Who, Webbo?
Yeah, Webbo.
She's back.
No, she's back. Like, she's not
back.
Like her playing like that. Her and Webbo were playing or Happy were playing together back when it was.
Yeah, it's insane.
Webbo was prime.
That was like.
And she was saying she was 17, 18.
Yeah.
So she would you say she goes in at 100% everything. She would have played with girls who wouldn't have given a shit.
Yeah, literally. I think in one of those premiership teams, they had Kirby Bentley, Mel Caulfield,
Oh, wow, Mel Crawford.
Yeah, like Steph, Webbo, Happy. Fuck, there was so many girls like that are now gone on to AFLW or even still playing. Like Shazzy's still playing.
Wongy,
love Wongy.
If you want to see someone who breaks some ankles,
yeah, go to Wongy. Watch Wongy play.
She can play. But yeah, it's an interesting for West Coast because they had to start up their own side, like fresh. You've got a lot of young girls, and then still kind of finding their feet at the AFLW kind of platform. But then your crosstown rivals, Freo, who have established for obviously 3 seasons. This is the 3rd season now.
Fifth
season.
Fifth. Pretty sure.
Into the 5th season. Yeah, and then they're prime for in the next couple of years.
Yeah, well,
premiership contenders. Really,
it's pretty much you think like 3 whole AFLW pre-seasons prior to. You think how and like that Freo group really hasn't changed a lot. Like the core group, like Juddy, Epps, Turbo, all those type of girls have been there for years and years and years. Whereas Eagles are sort of this is their 2nd pre-season as like a group, really. So I can give them a year or 2 and they'll...
West Coast. Because that's your team, isn't it? West Coast?
Nah, Dockers.
Dockers are all the way?
I'm a Docker.
So you don't really care about if West Coast come up or not?
No, I do. I care about the players.
You care the players more than...
Care about the players.
That's actually a good point because the more you kind of work in the footy industry and you learn or you kind of meet, different players from different clubs that come back from AFL to the local comps. And you kind of just learn to love the player. Like even if you might have a few players you coach as like juniors and they go and play AFL level, you're like, I really like, didn't like that team or whatever. Yeah. And now like I've kind of a little soft spot for them now because I really want him to do well.
I know, that's the thing. Like, Mum's
big time.
Mum is the biggest West Coast supporter unless Nat Fife's on the screen. But she's like, so who do you go for in the AFLW? I was like, Dockers and Eagles. She goes, what is wrong with you? You can only pick one team.
Hardcore. 1-on-1.
I was like, I can't. Like, it's too hard. Like, I love Dockers, but so many of my mates play for Eagles. So it's like, I can't. I can't pick one.
The best one for me when I was younger, I used to blackmail my old man and be like, I'm going to go start supporting Port Adelaide. And he'd be like, oh, and he'd go, hell, man. I just rev him up a little bit.
I used to go for Port Adelaide as like a little kid.
You did? Really?
Yeah, so weird. I don't know why. No, I don't know anyone from Adelaide.
In the early 2000s, they won the showdown, the Derby, called that over here. They won a good 4 or 5, probably even more in a row, and they're just they were so. Say the word. They're not dirty, but they played hard, real hard footy. You got the Burgoyne brothers, Brian Pickett, Josh Carr, all these real hard nuts, and the Corns brothers, hard nuts in the midfield. Wouldn't even care, just play real hard footy.
I would have loved to watch a showdown.
And kid me as a kid, hated it, man. I just hated Port Adelaide because we always lose to them. Even early 2000s, Adelaide were up there. 2002, I think, and 2003 lost in the prelim to West Coast, both times. And, we still always lost to Port Adelaide because they just had that pressure on the showdown. You just couldn't... Because showdown was such a big thing in Adelaide, Port Adelaide probably hyped it up a bit. And they were just
It was the same as the Derby here. Have you been to a Derby since you've been here?
No. The only game I've been here was the Samford and the WAFL state game, which was 2019.
You're right, so you've never been to an AFL game here?
AFL game here. No. There was a AFL game after that, Freo and something else, but I didn't say I left.
It was, I love derbies. They are because, you have a whole crowd of,
It's huge.
50-odd thousand, cheering. It is, you can't even hear yourself because everyone is screaming. But I'm also one of those fans that scream like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
not, I'm 100% like that as well.
Oh, 100%. If Sonny's run down that wing, I'm screaming.
Casey, whenever we used to go to Adelaide over Casey, we just be you'd saw it for the top. Just being polite.
Lockie's next to me, he's like, I'm like, no! I was like, this is AFL! Go the Dockers! Screw this! Losing it. And he's just like,
That's the way to be, though. That's the way to be.
I love it.
You can't support any other way.
No. I've pretty much made him. I mean, he was always a Dockers supporter, but now I'm like,
oh really?
He's a scarf.
He's not a big fan.
Nah, he's more surfing, skating, diving.
Is he your number one fan?
Yeah, 100%. He bought the newspaper because I was in it.
Oh, did he? Did he cut it out and put you on the fridge?
He like...
Or puts you in his wallet. Is he in your wallet?
Oh, I wish. Nah. But he like... Because with all the WAFL photos we had to take for like the preview of the WAFL season or whatever.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh my God, look what I got you. And it's like the back page of the West Australian. He's like, look, you're on it. And I'm like, oh, so sweet.
How was that? You had the you had all the captains there.
Yeah.
Was a bit of like, you know, hustle bustle, or was it pretty
like,
friendly?
We're all friends.
Yeah, right.
So I played state with two of them and like know this like couple of the other girls. So it just ended up being like, get out of work for the day, like happily chill for an hour.
Oh, really? So it was all laugh?
Yeah,
happy,
pretty
smile.
much. Like,
but as soon as that ball bounces down.
Oh, yeah, it's not. White line fever.
God, I don't know if I'd do that. Sit around my competitors and just be smile and here's my...
Yeah,
I'm too angry. Like, if I ever played, I was real bad white line fever. Like,
yeah,
probably almost to the point where I'd almost like, you know, take myself out of the body. Like, I don't even remember what happened in that game.
Yeah. No,
yeah, it's the same thing. Like, even do like Muay Thai sparring, stuff like that. I got to really hold myself. Like, don't go too crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I guess because I played state, like Cassie's the Peel captain and Tani's the Subi captain, and like us three played state 18s together. So it's sort of just
so
like,
you know you're all, so you all came up in that.
Yeah,
age group.
pretty much.
And now you're all
They're
captains.
a year older than me, but we were all
that age
Yeah.
the bracket.
So that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. What did you expect them like that age to go up to be captain or anything like that? No.
God, like, I guess because AFLW was never like really official back then.
You just kind of played footy.
Yeah.
But did they show leadership qualities or anything like that there? Or those kind of.
Oh wait, those two girls.
Yeah, those two.
Oh my God, I thought you were talking about like.
No.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, they were
Definitely,
the leaders,
yeah. But like I said, like AFLW wasn't really a thing, so I guess people at Subi, like you had Turbo, Renee Forth,
Yeah, they were
all
playing
these
that.
big names, and saying like Peel had so many. I guess Swanee was playing there at Peel back then, so you never really thought. Like, I guess personally, I never thought I would be captain because I guess like back then we had Happy, I guess Kirby had just left. Like you have all these huge names, and Mel, Legs, Eddie. Like it's crazy now to think, and it's so cool. Like we were all talking about it when we went up for those photos. Like, do you remember state 18s? Like now we're here. It's like, pretty cool.
We're reminiscing.
Yeah, and then like
you've got the premiership cup there. You'd be like, we're all fine for this.
Yeah, and then I had like East Fremantle on the side. I was like, yep, love that.
Tour? No, we won the one. WAFL.
Back to back. So 18.
Yeah, but it was 2018 was not the WAFL season, was it?
Yeah, it was like the WAFL. WAWFL.
Yeah. And then
but then the first WAFL season.
We won that one.
Yeah.
And then last year,
Peel. This year, East Fremantle.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Touch wood. That it comes through.
Good thing it's there.
Yeah, I was like...
Got to be any quicker on that.
I know.
So what do you do outside of footy? What do you do to kind of get your head out? Because obviously it's been... it was a short turnaround from post-season, and then the change in terms of what's the new season, the structure. How do you kind of get your head out and relax?
I guess I work full-time, so I guess it takes up a lot of your time. Like, you don't expect it to when you're casual working, but once you're full-time, it's you're waking up at 5:30 to be at work by 7, you leave work at 4 to get home at 4:30. And it's like, oh, well, the rest of the day, what am I going to do? And I guess, like, at the end of footy season, for previous years, we sort of finish in August, and then it's September onwards.
They pre-season started in October?
Nah, I think ours used to start end of November,
yeah, but
December.
This year
it started November.
Yeah.
Pretty much, like, first week of November.
So I think it was like 8 weeks post the end of the season.
It was super quick. In those 8 weeks, I think, God, I probably drank and ate a little bit too much, but I guess we weren't really expecting to start so soon.
And
as
we
well.
touched on it earlier as well, new coach.
Yeah.
What's one of the biggest things that he's brought in for this season?
Oh, new things. I guess everything. Like, everything's new, and I love that about Quayle. Like, he wants to make it completely new. I don't know how to word it. How do I word this? I don't know. He just wants to not change everything from what has been in previous seasons, but almost work on ways to make it better, which is huge. Like, he's so determined, and it's so great to have a male coach that is so determined for women's football.
Yeah, get better.
Yeah, like, he's just so determined to make this season, like, a great season. Like he says, even if it's a building year, if it's a building in the first, like, round 1 to 6, that's when we start to learn everything. That's when we get all our structures right. Round 7 to 12, that's when we should have everything completely under control, and that's when we start going on with the season. Yeah.
That's good. And also, I know that your new S&C coach.
Yeah.
Taking over from me as well. She's probably had a bit more contact hours in terms of Kylie's. A lot of it is probably in terms of what you're saying is a rearranged training a lot. Probably rearranged training, so you girls actually have a bit more of a strength conditioning base to get yourself physically fit.
Yeah.
Bit more robust. What kind of the biggest kind of philosophical changes that Sabrina's brought in to change, like kind of that type of change?
I guess personally, I can see where Sabs is coming from with all these, because we gym before or after every training. It's your choice, but you feel stronger when you go out in the field. At first, I was sort of like, again, stubborn, little shit. I was sort of like, I don't really want to feel sore before a game. And I spoke to you about this. I don't want to be working out. But then eventually I got in a routine of going to the gym almost every second morning. And I was like, oh my God, I feel so much stronger. And now we're doing it before training. And it's like, wow, I feel so much stronger in training. And I think
skill execution goes up because you're stronger and you can last longer, therefore you're fitter.
Yeah, like you're not so fatigued. And I think bringing that in, and all of us girls have such a good relationship with Sabs as well. She's such a great person that it almost makes gym so much more enjoyable. Nothing against you either. It's just like, I think because you see the same person for like 3 days a week all the time, pre-training, during training, after training, pre-game, like you see probably you see Sabs and all the coaches, players, more than you probably see some of your mates.
Yeah, that's 100%.
So yeah, that 100% I get where she's coming from with all the gym stuff. I guess you have had a bit of part of that as well, but yeah, I reckon it's definitely developed us all a lot more. Like, I feel like we're a stronger team as well. Like, we were hitting a lot of tackles on the weekend, which probably we wouldn't have last year.
Who's the biggest lifter in the gym?
Oh, Jacinta. Ainsworth?
Yeah, she's animal.
Unit. Like,
she's unit.
Yeah, like, because not Navy, what's the other one? Air Force. So she's in the Air Force, and we were lifting, and she was like lifting like 20 kilos, just dumbbell press.
She's a former WA Super Sport member.
Yeah, she's
as well. She
sailing.
Sailor, yeah. Back down when I was doing a bit of, I did my internship through there, and I did a bit of stuff with sailing as well in the mornings. That's where I met her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then even the coach when she left the sailing program and then she came to do footy, I told the strength coach who was working with her there, I was saying, Jay's playing footy, and goes, oh God, you've inherited one strong athlete. Like she's
she's like, we went to school together, which is so.
Oh really?
Yeah, like
a few of you girls have all went to school together. Did Marnie go to school as well?
Marnie went to
not all the same year.
Iona.
You just all
think. Yeah, all met at footy. But yeah, me and Jacinta went to the same school, but we weren't we were friendly, but we weren't hanging out all the time. It was always like, oh, hey, how are you? Then she came to footy and I was like, oh my God, this is so great. Like, I love this so much. Like, this was like me, Gabby, and another Gabby plus Jacinta have all come from Corpus. So it's so cool to see, like.
It's actually, I think I saw a video. Her biggest bench press, I think she had. Was it, she had 40 kilos?
Yeah, well, she was doing like dumbbell 20 each, and I was just sitting there like with my 12 and a halves, just like pushing, shaking.
I'm gonna ban the small dumbbells in the gym.
Oh, I was just
I'm gonna push you girls to lift heavier.
Oh, I watch her though, and I'm just like, holy, like she looks fit too. Like, good stuff, Jacinta. Proud of you.
There you go. We'll cut down the clip and I'll send it to After.
Yeah, please do.
Once I learn how to cut the clip.
Editing.
Yeah, once I learn how to cut a clip, 10-second clip, once I learn how to do that, I'll send it to her.
For like explosions, like.
Yeah. She's an animal. But anyway, we got her. Who was you got the back squad as well, Jay?
I'm trying to think who got the most in hours.
You?
I got 80, I think. Someone got more. I know New Girl got like 80. I think Kobe got 85. Kobe Wise. Yep. She's super strong too. Love Cobes.
She does a bit of stuff outside of this as well.
Yeah, so it probably helps that her now fiance. Do you know that?
Congratulations.
I know, congrats, Kobe Chris. Love you guys.
And Chief as well.
Yeah, Chief. Got a new son. Finally have a son. Yeah, like, I guess having Chris as fiance pushing her in the gym, like.
And he's a back coach as well for the seniors, and he's a reserves coach this year as well.
Yeah. So, she's super strong, like super strong.
It was good. So you go from what I've been talking to Prue, a pretty fit list this year. No injuries out of the weekend.
Yes, I think we had. I think Rachel did or hurt her quad, but that was like an existing injury type thing. And then I think Marnie got concussed. If you classify that as
injury.
Yeah, injury. I guess miss a week, but yeah.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah, so
concussions are crazy. There's a new rules this year. You have to miss a week or something like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's 12. I know in AFL it's 12 days, 14 days. Yeah, I think it's 12. Awesome. So I don't know if they're bringing that into the WAFL, which I assume they probably will. I would be happy for someone to miss that amount of time because in the end of the day, brain's biggest thing you got to care about, and your health's got to, like.
It'd be interesting to see in the next couple of years research that's coming out from, like, all the brain research they've been doing over the last couple of years coming out to see this kind of stuff you can do in terms of, like, you know, what you can take in terms of, like, you know, if fish oils have an effect on brain health, you know, say it did, like, if you take over, I think it's 2 to 4 grams is, like, good for your brain health, different stuff. Like, now that CBD oil is you can get that over the counter. That's meant to be good for, like, brain health. And even, you know, you're doing, like, a keto diet. Like, I was watching a podcast a while back. John Wellborn, he was a 10-year veteran in the NFL and used to play on he was a offensive linesman.
Yeah.
And he was on, like, the left side. So he'd always run in and he would hit always the right side of someone so he could hit. So then when he retired, he went and he got his brain scan and his right side was damaged. And the doctor was like, oh, do you have trouble with, you know, empathy, like all these sort of things? He's like, my wife just says I'm just a dickhead, like I just start loving him or whatever. And he's like, oh no, you actually you actually have a bit of damage there, so that's probably the reason.
Explains.
Yeah. And then he because he obviously he's in the strength and conditioning field. Yeah. Once he finished the NFL, he went down this path, like he went into CrossFit, did all this type of stuff. But he's a good talker too, so like he required a few connections, and he hit up this doctor that he knew, and he said, oh, try this, get on a keto diet and see what happens. And he said he went 6 months. He went from, like he said, 50 grams of, like, carbs only, and then he would just get protein and fat from everything. And then he got a re-scan after 6 months, and the doctor was like, oh, your actual brain's actually coming back, like you've actually rejuvenated. Yeah, so that's 6 months. And then he did another 6 months and just went zero, like, or minimal carb, like whatever he would be getting from, like, you know, if he was having vegetables, like whatever carbs from that, but like he wasn't eating, like, bananas or anything like that. Yeah, like the big... Anything we're going to get your major calories from carbs. It was and then after that, he said his brain was, you know, is back to where it would have been a normal.
Well, that's my biggest concern.
I think, you know, maybe, you know, yes, we got to take some time off, but how about, like, strategies that you can have to kind of, you know,
like while you're off in that,
off in the space, but also like throughout your career as an athlete. You know, as an athlete, you probably don't want to restrict your carbs too much, but maybe post, because a lot of your players, you know, once you finish up playing footy, you kind of just go off the gurgler and you know, you kind of don't really care. You know, you train for so long, you kind of like, I'm not going to train this week. You know, I've done 12 years of training. I don't need to do more.
Non-stop.
You know, but like, and also your nutrition, you've had like people, you know, telling you what to eat for so long. You're like, oh, screw that, you know. But, you know, have a strategy, or if there's, you know, more research coming out in that space that's going to help. You know, you've got the AFL Players Association now, you know, they can put connections out and then have a look to see what they're doing post, you know, to make sure that they're still getting looked after and doing, you know, if you've got to sacrifice a year so you know, later on down the track you can still remember things.
I know, it blows, like, I love UFC. I don't know a lot of people, like...
You and me both.
Like, I'm just like... I watch the big fights, like Conor McGregor's, like... that's literally all I know. But it's like, I love just like flicking it on and I just see them getting absolutely like, I don't know how most of them, who was that? Dylan Dennis?
Yep.
Do you know that? I was listening to a podcast with him on it and he was just saying like, eventually he's going to stop within like a couple of years because he has kids or either has kids or wants kids and he just cannot get to that stage where...
Savage.
He's like 40 years old and he's like, sorry, what was that? Like, and forgetting things.
There's a lot of things too when you start having kids, you stop being, especially if you're a fighter, you go, well, it depends. Like you can have the fighters who, had kids young and then need to fight to have money, whatever.
Yeah.
Or you can have the fighters who had the career and then towards the end, they've had kids and, they're kind of, not taking anything away from them, but, kind of get a bit soft because they've had kids and can't pull themselves away from, being a dad and then have to go fight and look after a kid. And then that kind of affects their game a little bit. But, yeah, talking about, fighting and stuff, Max Holloway did his last two fights against Calvin Kattar and then the Australian guy.
Is he
Alexander,
UFC?
Alexander Volkanovski. The last two fights, probably his best two fights he's had. And he didn't do any sparring. Like, he did no sparring. Like, no
really?
head. He was only doing, well, that's what he said, whether that's
true or not. True.
But, you take him on his word because he doesn't really lie too much. But, yeah, didn't do any true sparring. That's probably, the last match he had against Calvin Kattar, he broke all of his previous records. And so he's led UFC, significant strikes, landed, all these numbers. He held all those. And then his last fight, he broke them all. And he just went nuts. Like, he was, the last round was like a 30-second block. He turned, he was in the fight. This is mid-fight. Turns to the commentators on the side and goes, I'm the best boxer in the UFC, looks at him while dodging punches from his opponent and landing punches at the same time. Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah. So that sorry, going back to the point where it's
going back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, about the head contact and stuff, just going to fights, doing lots of sparring and that sort of stuff. You're going to be, especially guys who do lots of hard sparring and that sort of stuff in preparation for fights. It actually leads to, you're probably going to go in compromise, foggy head, or you might actually go with a weaker chin because you've been taking in heaps of hits throughout practice.
I guess, that's their training.
Exactly.
Our training is going out.
But in terms of, you say, these fighters, by the time they get to the UFC, they've had, amateur fight, or they've had pro fights before that, and then they've had amateur. So they've done the required work anyway. It's more or less staying staying healthy enough and then staying in shape. You don't have to, spar hard, but they do a lot of Muay Thai fighters. They do touching. They don't really hard spar. They just kind of play around. They get the technique right, and then fighting is a time where you go out and you get hurt.
Well, that's the thing. With Marnie getting that, I only found out yesterday that Marnie got a concussion, and straight away I was like, "Is she okay?" Straight away I was like, "Quayle, is she okay?" Because I was like, "When did this happen in the game?" Because I'm pretty sure she played the game. And I just... It was
delayed.
I don't think she knew that she was concussed. I think it was all delayed. And then straight away I was like, is she okay? And Quayle was she's I'm sure she's okay. We'll suss her on Tuesday. Well, obviously, today. I was like, all right, well, first thing I see her, I'm just going to be like, if you're not okay to train, please get cleared. I do not want you, getting it. Because once you get, once you get, one concussion, it's easier to get another?
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know, I'm just huge on looking after yourself.
Oh, you have to.
100%. Even with a lot of the mental health stuff, we held a session a couple weeks ago, I think 3 weeks ago now, and it was wellness and a well-being wellness session, pretty much run by the leadership group. So me, Larry, Kate, and Hayley. Pretty much we just put on pizzas and virtually just did a Triple H session. So, do you know what that is?
Explain.
So, the Richmond Football Club, they started doing this pretty much as they started becoming successful. So, the season, I think it was the season, the pre-season from when they started to turn their season around, where they actually started to become pretty successful.
Yep.
They did a Triple H session. So, pretty much you have a choice. So, you can stand up and say, a hero, a hardship, or a highlight in your life. So you can either say...
triple H.
Yeah, so that's the triple H. Hero, hardship,
and
a highlight.
Hero,
so,
hardship,
and we pretty much... Because I was talking to you before, like Dylan Friends, he had Brendan Ellis on. And...
That's where he spoke about that.
Yeah, and that's when I was sitting there, I was like, oh my God, this is like incredible.
Mm.
Like, I feel like mental health and this kind of stuff sort of just... Obviously doesn't get pushed aside, but it's not in between players. Like, you can talk to coaches or a psychologist, but really we come to footy and I just know...
Together.
Say if you're a player, I just know you as a player. I don't know you as a person type thing. So we really wanted to, like, necessarily make this season more about bringing everyone together and actually getting to know someone for, like, not just a player, but as a person as well. So that's pretty much why we wanted to do it. And it was, like, the biggest success. Like... It literally made me so happy. Like, all of us girls were, like, hugging at the end. We're like, oh, my God, that was so great. Like, that was the best thing. Like, had so many messages. Like, almost everyone that attended was like, thank you so much.
Because you learn so much about other people, right? And even in best, like you said, your even the people that you think you know really well, you actually learn something new.
Oh, my God.
And there's, like, a bit of... You have more of a connection.
Yeah. And it was just, like, there were tears, there were laughs. Like, there was just...
All the emotions.
Oh, everything you can think of. But, like I was saying earlier in the podcast, like, we're all so close this year.
Yeah.
I think it started from that session, which is now just grown so much more. And, like, we want to do another one because it was just so good to, like, know something about someone.
Yeah.
But nah, it was...
Well, who's your hero?
I said my nonna and nonno.
Yeah.
I'm Italian and Portuguese. But they are just so... beautiful. Love them so much. They helped us so much as, like, a family in the past few years.
Migrated here over from...
Sorry?
They migrated here over from Italy?
Yeah, so Nonno came over from Sicily.
Yep.
Like, when they first migrated. Then Nonna's from here. But she's she's Nonna. But, like, yeah, so I reckon Nonna and Nonno are definitely my heroes, as well as my brother. Love my brother.
Lovely.
Yeah.
That's so sweet.
Who's your hero?
I don't know. I pull heroes whenever kind of the moment I need them. So, like, probably the biggest kind of life-changing event I had for me was making the decision to move over here to Perth from Adelaide, and then I actually moved over for an unpaid internship, and I got copped a lot of heat for it. And then everyone's like, "Oh, you're moving so far, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Well, no, same thing, you know." My unon, my grandfather, he moved over from Italy, and it was like thousands of kilometres on a ship, you know, like had no phone. Like, he came with a bag, and then all this sort of stuff, you know, no money or whatever.
Yeah, literally.
I'm just moving from a different city, like, it's no big of a deal, like, you know. So kind of put thing into a bit more of a perspective. So I just came, like, you know, try not to make it too big of a deal, because then if I'm stressing about moving, and it doesn't make it the whole thing more enjoyable, I don't get, you know. I'm just like, oh, I miss out on the opportunity of, like, the internship provider. But, like, it's just an internship. I'm not getting paid, and I have to move to do this, you know.
You always got to be positive.
Exactly. You got to say,
like,
take the best things out. So even that, and a lot of my work ethic comes from, like, dad, obviously, and then even getting old, living further away now from, like, brother and sister, you kind of realise how much you take their company for granted.
Yeah.
You miss like, even, like, you go for Christmas and it's like you just talk shit of, like, your brother or, like, cousins and stuff. And then my sister's now living in China.
Oh my, what?
Yeah.
What's she doing there?
Teaching, like, young little, like, it's like an English school. Sorry if I get this wrong, if she's listening, but it's an English school, but they're obviously China. They're learning how to, like, speak like Western culture. So I think they're an upper class, like, kind of family. Send the kids here and they learn, like, Western culture and this sort of stuff. And it's like a preschool like, age group, and they're learning, like, sitting down at the table, and they teach them how to, like, use knife and fork and then the manners. And, like, so and one of the stories she was telling mum told me is that they had this little dinner set up, and then, like, they had, like, a male and a female kid would come in, and the little boy would pull the chair out for the girl to sit in and all this sort of shit. And mum was telling me, I was like,
restored in humanity.
Anyway, and she was over for the whole COVID thing, and she ended up getting stuck, and she had to work her over here. And then we all ended up, like Gabby, my sister left, and then she left. Oh, did she leave first or did I leave first? I think I left first, and she was looking to leave. And anyway, so we all left pretty soon, and then my brother was the youngest, he stayed. And then within a couple of months, we'll come back, because obviously COVID broke down. It was like, might as well just go back home. And then we're all back home. Mum's like, oh,
What's everyone doing?
Yeah. So that was like in his So family's a big one, especially like I think even like Italian families all kind of you spend so much time with them, you do, and when they go away or you lose them for whatever reason, you kind of puts it in perspective how important they are in your life because you're around them so much, a big influence.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You don't realise how, like, I remember when we could travel, me and Lockie would always go to Bali for 2-3 weeks. And even in there, I'm like, I was having the best time of my life, but it's like, I miss my family. Like
2 weeks.
Yeah, like, I get so, like, I miss my family.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, it's crazy, but...
I'm bad. Self-confessed, I'm really bad with that.
Yeah?
Like, I would have been a couple... When Casey called my mum and dad on the weekend, and I was like, I got pulled out, like, because I was, like, in the zone, like, doing stuff, and just like, talk to your parents, and I'm like, I'm real bad.
Hi,
Sorry,
Mum.
Mum and Dad.
Hi, Dad. Hey, guys.
No, but I was like, because I'm not in the mood, self-confessed, not very nice, but...
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Who's some of your idols? Because you asked me before we came on.
My idols?
Yeah, like, do you have a sporting... Like, with all this...
Rocks.
The Rock?
Yeah, Dwayne Johnson, mate. Why not?
Love him.
Yeah. He is he's so, like, charismatic. Did you
used to watch him in WWE?
Oh, no. I missed out on that. I wasn't, like, that age group because he was, like, the 90s. I should have been. Like, I was late on the WWE bandwagon.
I was huge.
I was really, like... Because he got... There was a period in the 90s he was big, and then he went away, like, in 2010, and then he came back. And that's when I kind of stopped watching after that because I was like, other things to do. So he came on, like, late, but I was like, no, but I liked he's so charismatic. Like, everyone, find a person who doesn't like The Rock. Bar, what's his name? The guy from Fast and Furious. Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel. Him and him, they both don't get along because their egos are too big.
Yeah.
Probably. It works he's like number one highest paid actor he came from wrestling, so that's acting itself, but like not really a trained actor. Like, he does all these movies, makes so much money, and he started from nothing. Now it's just like crazy.
I know.
You heard about this show that is like in America, like can't remember what station it's on, but it's like called The Young Rock, but it's set in the future, right? So it's set in 2030. Rock's going for the presidency.
Oh my God.
And he's doing they're going back over his so the TV show is a TV show in itself. So they're going back in time as like a young actor of The Rock going through his like school years, and then he's doing like an interview about that time. It's crazy. Well, I can't
believe you never watched him in like WWE and stuff.
Oh, you see highlights and stuff, but never got
me and my brother used to like full blown be like WWE until I found out it was fake and I cried.
Oh, it's not really fake.
Oh, but like I dead set thought it was like Hell in a Cell jumping off the top, like.
Oh, that's real. They still jump off onto a thing.
Oh, but like the chairs hitting him and stuff. Like I was all for this.
It's still a chair. Like, it's just metal that's weaker. It's still getting hit.
But once you know it's not like in the punches.
The thing that gets me is the fact that it's scripted. Like the people who are like, you're losing tonight, and I was like, that's what bums me out.
Literally spewing.
But yeah, so The Rock probably in terms of anyone really who has achieved more than what I have. That makes sense. So like, just gets me hungry to be like, I need to work a little bit harder, or I have to do this to get.
Is that what got you into this job? Well, I guess that's different, but
what got me into this job?
It's not
sport.
So much
I just like sport.
Yeah.
I'm just mad. Like,
mad about it.
Dude, mad. Like, I remember being young and then sitting at Uncle and Auntie's place, and like Dad was there. We was having like dinner, and then I think it was like an AFL. I think it was something, and there was someone was doing a lap of honor. I think it was like the Australian netball side was doing a lap of honor during a game for some reason, and I stood up and was like clapped, and Uncle was like, I was young. I don't know how old it would have been, but young, and my uncle was like, "What is this bloke on? Like, you fucking like sport like." What have you raised this kid to be like? And so obviously I've never really gifted in terms of talent wise for much, except of being stubborn. So that's probably why I'm half decent being like a fighter.
Join the party.
So I was like, well, what can I do to stay in sport? And this obviously, and I was like, I'm probably not gifted athletically, but in terms of like, as soon as I hit the gym, I'll put on a shit ton of size. So living in the gym, and then, sport science and strength conditioning was kind of bubbling about the surface in the early 2010s when I kind of left high school, and then got into human movement, and then still like didn't really know. It was like personal trainer, but it's kind of going to be like a glorified personal trainer with a bachelor's degree. And then I finished, was last year, and then I got the sit down from the parents, being like, where do you want to go? What are you going to do after this? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And I kind of figured out like to do a master's of strength and conditioning because I could stay in the gym for a little bit longer, still study. And then obviously you got that stuff to work in sport. And then I kind of did a few internships. Actually, bringing it back, I did do a little internship at a women's soccer club.
Yeah, right.
Back in Adelaide, yeah. Adelaide City Soccer Club. They were top of the... Soccer was so different because it's such a new sport to me at that stage. Like you win... So if you finish top of the ladder, you win the cup, or like you win the thing.
Like you...
But then you go off and you win like...
title.
You win the achievement, whatever. But then you actually go and you play another thing and you win the cup. It was so confusing.
Yeah,
it's like two different leagues within one. It's weird. You still play the same team. So yeah, it was interesting. So that was that. And then my dad ended up knowing someone who was on the board at North Adelaide Footy Club. And then through that connection, I was able to go down to like watch a few trainings and get to know their S&C coaches. And then I just was a fly on the wall for a little bit too long, and they were like, oh, why don't you just stay on for next season and coach the under-18s, under-16s, which is the Colts.
Yeah, over there.
Yep, Colts level, or Futures and Colts level over there. And then did 2 seasons there, and then, people move on, and then I moved up a rank, just because I was stubborn. I think it's probably my biggest one, being stubborn and just continue. Like I just love learning. Like you see the books I've got there, and book of the podcast right here, and I just love learning. Like it's just, and that's why, and even like doing this too. Like I love being able to talk to someone, and then probably go off and want to do more things after this because this gets me motivated. Learning new things, and then idols, and even like it was funny because I was thinking about this before, about like being young and then getting into like sports and coaching and sport, and then you kind of get a little bit starstruck when like you get like a player come back down from an AFL. Yeah. And then like, how do I act around someone who's playing AFL? And then like the more you talk to them, and they're just like a person.
Oh, literally. You know what I mean? Like they're literally like...
I was like, why? Like probably young because I was like, young, didn't have much experience. And then like they've been in, like I had, you set AFL up with a big, like that's just like, wow, AFL players up here, they're so good. Yeah. And then they come down, play, like they're coming down and I'm coaching them now. Wow. Like, but really they're just a person. They don't really see themselves. They don't have them. I put them on such a high pedestal that really they don't see them like that. Yeah. But yeah, so the older I get now, it's more fun. Like working with John Griffin last year, my first season at East Freo. And I remember being, 14 maybe even younger when he was playing at Adelaide Crows. And I remember watching him. Yeah. And I said that to him last year, like, man, it's probably an honour, like, coaching you this year, like, because I knew you from Crows. And he would be telling me stories, like, during trainings, like, gym sessions. He'd be telling me stories about the Crows and all this sort of stuff. I was, like, eating it up and, like, tell me more.
That's so cool, though.
So, yeah, I was like, man, it was crazy being able to work with you, like, And then you get all these other players. And that's why, like, I want this podcast to be a good idea, too. Because then I was also, like, people outside, people who listen to the podcast, if they tune in to listen to someone like you or any other athlete, you don't really get to know you don't really know players like on a level, like if you just sit down and talk to them, you hear a 5-minute clip on a report they had to give it at a press conference, but that's nothing compared to what stories they
compared to like an actual sit down.
Exactly, and this is like open form media. You can talk as long as you want. You can say what you want. Really, no one can tell you off. So, tell you off. You're not going to it's not major repercussions because we're not on a network or anything like that. So that's why, start this up. Players can talk, open form media. Say what you like. Though. I love it.
Who's your next guest?
Who
are we trying?
I don't know. I've lined up a few others I'm going to get before the men's season starts. I'll get Juppy on to talk about the season or the pre-season just gone and what's going to lead up into the season. And I've spoke to a few others. Some AFLW girls, another S&C coach who's doing his PhD. I'm only going to talk about his research. Another young female S&C coach as well. She used to work at our Colts level. I'll be in contact with her. And then if travel starts to open up, I know a few mates who might come down. But yeah, I just want to try to get a big broad spectrum of like athletes and then S&C coaches as well, trying to blend them two together. We spoke a bit about S&C, but I want to because I'm a bit of a sport nufty as well. I love, if I can talk to an athlete, I'll talk to an athlete, kind of pick their brain a little bit. Do it. Yeah, why not? So, even a few AFLW girls, even if, any of them who come over from interstate, I'll love to get Anne Phillips on. She'd be cool.
Go.
Anyone. Man, she's amazing. She was young. Like, she used to play... She played in the men's, like, as a junior footy. Like, Smosh, West Lakes, yeah. Crazy. Her and her old man, he was an old Port Adelaide footy player as well. Like, he was a gun footy player.
She is, like, the most talented.
Strength and power.
Like, insane.
Is there a photo of her from the weekend? Holy shit.
Shit.
Amazing,
Beast
right?
mode.
Beast mode.
Like, beast mode activated.
Man,
Far
it's crazy.
out.
That's what, like, another thing for, like, anyone, any female who wants to, like, do really well or, like, actually compete at any type of sport. Just, like, that's strength and power. Like, they're the two.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to work at something, especially, like, young girls, get into lifting weights or get yourself a S&C coach who can get you strong and powerful, because if you've got that little bit of a head start, you know, it doesn't, you know, you can kind of catch the skill up later, because women's sport is such a development stage that if you've got a little bit of speed and power, strength and power under your belt already, you kind of leap years or light years ahead to everyone else. Well, there's a story east that Wace, one of a sprint athlete, I can't remember if she was a 400 metre or 200 metre runner, but she had an Achilles injury, and then to keep up her conditioning, they put her on a bike, just like an ergo bike, and you can test like your power and that sort of stuff on there. And the physiologist went up to her one day and was just like, how, like, what kind of wattage, like, what kind of power output you're getting on the bike? And she goes, spit out some number, like 1,200 watts, I think it was. That's pretty high. And he goes, oh, I'm like, yeah, that's actually, you know, pretty good, like, numbers, like, considering, like, you know, you're not really a bike. Like, you don't really ever train on a bike, like, you're just a runner. And then he was like, oh, we'll get you, she was just doing it in runners, and they gave her, like, actually got her, like, proper cycling shoes, put her in the clips, and then took her through an actual, like, ergo test. And then he was like, these numbers are, like, elite.
Like stupid numbers.
No, not just, like, stupid good. These are, like, numbers you can get into the Olympics team with, right? So this was a sprint athlete who was also completing a PhD at Wace, through Wace. And then he sent these numbers off to Cycling Australia. And then he was like, and then they ended up 2 days later, they called her back and they were like, we've got a spot for you on our Olympic cycling team. And then now,
that's insane.
And she's never ridden a bike before. Supposedly there's this, in terms of like I'm not sure on the actual event, but do it in like a relay or like a 4-person team. And there was one spot that they needed her for, and because she can put these amazing sprint power numbers out, that she's perfect for this little burst of speed that they need
like
for
the
this
shorter.
Yeah, so now she's gone from being like a state level sprinter to now an Australian level cyclist, and that's all because she has this you know, amazing strength and power.
That's insane.
You know, also there's another Tia Toomey as well. She is a multiple time CrossFit Games winner, world champion, also Commonwealth Game weightlifting gold medalist, competed in the Rio Olympics, and now she's going for the winter. She's going to compete in bobsled in the 2022. I think I'm not sure where in China, but it's in China. They're doing the winter.
Yeah.
So she's competing in that as well.
That's so random.
Yeah. But it's because, like, you know, female sport, you know, if you've got that base of strength and power, you can kind of almost learn. You can learn the skill.
Yeah.
But you've got that little base behind you.
I wish we learnt more about strength and conditioning earlier on, like when I was younger. Even in school, like, I wish we knew the benefits of all of this stuff. Like, like every now and then it would be like, we're doing a beep test. And it's like, okay, but why are we doing a beep test? Like, it's so random. Like, it never really did anything. And, like, looking back now, like, I'm not the fittest of people, but God, like, when I do, like, a pre-season, like, I bet my 2K by 20 seconds. To me, that's huge.
That's huge.
Like, I was so happy, but that was just from me being like, all right, well, let's just see what I can do.
Yeah, push yourself.
Whereas, like, in school and even in, like, youthies, it wasn't really, it was just like, oh, what do you need fitness for? Except for, like, a cross country, and that's it. Like, that's literally it.
Cross country.
Oh, filth. Absolute filth.
Yuck.
But, like, that's what I mean. Like, I wish it was talked about more in school, even, like...
Well, American...
Now it is in, like, at East Fair, it definitely is. But, like, back then, 6-7 years ago, it was never even, like, really thought of.
That's a funding thing from the government. Well, that's what, like, American high schools and stuff, because they get really they get lots of funding from stakeholders and stuff for their team, like high school teams, to be really good, that they invest money into like your strength and conditioning, because most of those sports like NFL and that's like if they're a sprint college, you're going to need S&C coaches as well. So that's where look compared to Australian high school sports and university sports compared to American, you see the massive difference. And even as well, draft age as well takes a big difference. Like, can you imagine like the next, like Logan McDonald or whatever, he spent another 2 years in the WAFL. He just got drafted from Perth to Sydney.
Oh, sick.
So, this was most recently. And if he spent, they draft NBA, NFL at 21.
Yeah.
Give them a couple of years to bit more maturity, bit more, life experience, and as well as bit more of a learning curve from a state level, WAFL.
Yeah.
A bit more, it's more time in the gym, do all this sort of stuff. And then, maybe even if the AFL, they might have their so they get drafted, they'll do 19 or they might do 21's team or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they can have a bit more funding. They can do stuff. They can go after the AIS, or they can do stuff more in there. They do like WA hubs and this sort of stuff. They can spend more time training there as well, so they can get a bit more, time to learn and develop as the body matures.
Yeah.
More. So by the time they get to AFL, they're ready to play. Really, and the guys who get drafted, very rarely do you have guys playing at 18.
Yeah.
And 19 usually. Like the very, very good ones, they play because they've star power.
Yeah,
but don't really get many guys because usually you got a boy playing with men.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's similar to even in our comp. Like, you're having youthies come up against girls who have been in the competition for years.
Yes. Yeah, you do notice that.
Like, it's crazy. Like, you look at someone as small as like Miley, incredible footballer, but you put her against someone who's twice her size in height and width, and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, there's a huge
but she's
difference.
a competitor.
Sorry?
Mad competitor.
Oh, she's going to be an incredible footballer.
Yeah.
Like, easy will get drafted in the future.
Yeah.
100%.
Who else we got draft? Chloe Riley.
Oh, so many girls.
She's come on. She is one who I've seen in the gym a lot.
She's
17?
17, I think. So I think she's...
Is it this year she's drafted?
I think this year she can get drafted. I think. But yeah, she'll get picked up. It'll be stupid if she doesn't get picked up. Crazy.
Yeah. Ready to call it a break? Call it time?
Sure.
You've been rapping for almost an hour.
As if.
Awesome.
Oh, that flew by.
Thank you very much for coming on.
No worries. Loved
Anytime. Give me a little fist. Bang.
Returning guest, I will be back.
We'll be back?
I'm inviting myself.
At the end of the season, we'll get you back.
All right.
I reckon we'll do a post-season review. Thanks, Gomesy.
Thanks.